Another series finished off for now with the newest game in the Kiwi 64 series, Super Kiwi 64. Don't have much of an intro this time, so let's just get into it. Set sometime after MacBat 64, Kiwi is being told by the pirate captain about a floating island above the Kiwibean held up by powerful winds. An ancient civilization once lived there. Captain used to travel there with a friend when he was young to go look for lost treasures, but one day the friend went up there alone and was never seen again. Having told Kiwi that, he asks if he still wants to try seeing the island up close himself. Kiwi nods. Captain just warns him not to get too close to the winds. Turns out that was all a flashback and we fade into Kiwi trapped on the island with this dog on a plane. The dog figures out what happened then. The dog is the captain's missing friend, Lansbury. Apparently the pair were wanted in some places. He'd like to see him again, but they need to finish the plane so that they can get off the island. He'll work on the engine while I explore the game for energy cells to power the plane. This cramped sewer is the hub world. Kiwi has his spinning beak attack and a new jetpack that lets him glide. Talking to Lansbury has him confirm that 3 years have passed since MacBat 64, as he recalls seeing the unfiltered water incident from above. Moving right soon takes me to the abandoned forest world and I enter its first level. There are 6 energy cells and 28 gears to find, also a target to destroy and enemies, with this easily killed walking golem. 4 gears lead inside this hut where there's a ring to go through. There's some kind of code written on the wall here, but that's for much later. Bounce on the nearby mushrooms to reach the next level with 4 more gears. Bounce on another mushroom for the second ring. Back into the centre for another 4 gears. 5 more gears at the slope to the third ring. To the right for another 4 gears, and around this time I discover I can dash as well. Kiwi can still climb walls by burying his beak in them and then jumping. I spot another mushroom on the wall above the hut with the first ring, so I glide to it and bounce up to my first energy cell. From this mushroom I can also glow to another cell floating high above the centre of the stage, but I just barely miss and land on the slope I found the third ring on. Go left 4 more gears and up on the dinosaur skeleton for the last 3 to make an energy cell appear near the water. Jump off the head for the 4th ring and grab the energy cell I made appear. A third one is nearby under the water. I get back up to the next level and break a target at the end of the left path. Then a third behind the skeleton to make a cell appear near the hut. I bounce off the nearby mushroom for the final ring on top of the tree to spawn a cell on the skull. I grab that, the target cell, and make the glide to the final cell in the air, finishing this level. Completing a level unlocks a time trial. Fully complete the level under the time required to collect a golden clock. Like with Tori, I'll just show a successful run. This one I do first try. Now for that second level. There's always 6 energy cells, but the gear amount is different, in this case 50. Run across the bridge in front of me for 5 gears. I jump off the back of the platform to get 4 more from a mushroom and bounce to my first energy cell. Head towards the water from there, getting 4 more gears. Fly across to the wreckage of this ship, getting 3 more gears on the way up. I hit all 3 targets on the back to spawn the second energy cell above them. There's also the first ring up here and 4 more gears. A broken propeller in the water next to the ship holds another 6 gears. Then comes a tree near the propeller. 6 more gears around and on the first mushroom. 1 more gear and ring up the mushrooms to my third cell. Then the third ring behind the tree. Cross the nearby bridge to 5 more gears and jump off for the 4th ring on top of the mushroom. Then the bridge back to the start has the final ring, spawning the cell nearby. I fall off the bridge and bounce the nearby mushrooms to the top of the statue for 6 more gears and the 4th cell. The last 5 gears are on the bridge back to the start. I grab the ring cell and the gear cell and the level is complete. Now for the time trial. This one takes a few attempts. Back in the hub, moving right past Lansbury will take me to the desolate desert world, starting with level 3. This place has one of my favourite bits of music for a desert level in any game I've played. Right in front of me are 3 gears of 33 and the first ring. 4 more gears going up the stairs. The first golem I've seen since the first level and 3 more gears. Also 2 boxes to destroy which are also counted. I realise I missed one by the level start and get it. Back up the stairs I climb the nearby pipe to find the second ring. Then at the next set of stairs are 4 gears on one side and 4 more on the other. Another set of stairs are 4 more gears and a third ring off one of the corners. Up one last set of stairs to climb for the 4th ring. I see a series of high up platforms off to the side, so I glide over there. A green card to collect, and the last 2 boxes are here, spawning the energy cell back on the middle floor. Glide to the next platform over to find 3 targets on boxes to press. All 3 of them make a cell spawn right next to me. That's my first. I drop down to the sand at the bottom to find a warehouse I can open with the green card and find the second cell inside another crate. On the opposite side down here are some rails with abandoned train carriages. Between them are the remaining 11 gears, spawning a cell by the level entrance, and the final ring. This one spawns a cell on the carriage right next to me. I get that and collect the box cell, a cell floating above the carriages, and the gear cell to finish the level. Time trial now. They're taking longer. This one took 5 attempts. And then right on into level 4. This one is a big tower climb, 51 gears. Climb the first lift for the first 3, next lift for 3 more, next lift for 6 more and the first ring, 2 more lifts for 3 more gears. Next lift to a second ring and a series of floating conveyors to jump across to my first energy cell. Back the way I came and further along this floor for 3 more gears. A conveyor and the next lift to a series of platforms with 4 more gears and a target to hit on the way. Another lift to a fork. Take the right for 5 gears and the next target to hit. Then up several lifts with the third ring on the way to find the energy cell at the top. Back to the fork and take the left path for 3 gears, a lift to 3 more, and another lift to platforms with 3 more gears and the third target that spawns a cell on top of the tower. Across the conveyor for 4 more gears and the 4th ring, then towards the next lift with 7 more gears on the way. Up the lift for 1 gear and another for the 5th ring that spawns another cell at the top. I turn around and land on the top to grab it, the last 4 gears to spawn another cell in front of me. I grab that, the ring cell, and the final cell above it. This time trial only takes 2 attempts. Since the level is so linear, it's less about the route and more pure execution. Next to the desert level entrances is a series of lifts taking me to the ambient temple world, starting with level 5. 34 gears and a pair of keys to collect. First up the ramp for 5 gears. The way ahead is barred off, so I glide over to this green switch and strike it to turn it red. That turns off the bars and I can go inside for 3 more gears. Then a series of switch hitting to get rid of bars and progress through the level to find a caged key, a button that opens the door back out into the main room, and 4 more gears. Go out, strike the switch and go back in to be able to get the blue key. Back out and continuing up the ramp for 7 more gears before I go through the door at the top. 3 more gears on the way to the next switch, plus another 3 to the left and right each. I go right and glide across the platforms in the water to reach a button. This lights one of the torches by this door opposite the green switch. Strike the switch to drain the water in the left room so I can climb the button that lights the other torch and opens the door. Through the door and drop into the water, sinking to the bottom to find a tunnel. Avoid the green rocks as I run uphill and find the purple key. The button here opens the door back to the main room where I can open the purple lock in front of me. Inside are a series of mushrooms to bounce to another tunnel with the last 6 gears, spawning a cell in the main room. The next room has a locked door and 3 keys to collect on the floor below. Then hit the switch to flip the room to find 4 more keys so I can unlock the door. In here is a button that lowers the central tower of the main room. Out of the way I came to find a new ramp where 5 energy cells are waiting. Then drop down next to the start for the gear cell and finish the level. This time trial took the most attempts so far. I lost count, but it was more than 10. This is where I discovered saving time through jumping and beak attacking. And now for stage 6. To start with, I have a left or right fork. I go left, jumping the platforms and avoiding swinging guillotines and fires in the floor for 7 out of 44 gears, the first ring, and the button that opens up the coffin where I started to reveal an energy cell. I grab that and take the right path up the stairs, getting 3 more gears on the way to the next floor where there's another coffin. Left or straight on, I take the latter, getting 8 more gears on the way to the button that opens up this coffin for my second energy cell. I jump towards the huge skeleton statue in the back and climb to the top for another 3 gears and the second ring. I then grab that second cell and take the left path up the stairs. 3 more gears on the way to another coffin on the next floor. Left or straight on again, I once again take the latter to get 6 gears and the third ring on the button to open the coffin and get the third cell. Left up the stairs for 3 more gears to another coffin with another left or straight on fork. Straight on again for 8 more gears and the button to open the fourth coffin, which has a ring inside this time. That's my fourth, and it's left up the stairs again, where the final 3 gears are, spawning the cell on top of the statue. There's another coffin up here and a collapsing path off to the left with the button that opens up that final coffin for another cell. And nearby is the final ring that spawns the last cell by the entrance. I grab the coffin cell, the gear cell, and finally the ring cell to finish this stage and start the time trial. Only 2 attempts needed this time. Up where these levels are, across the bridge to the right are the final pair, the pirate ruins, starting with stage 7. Right in front of me are 3 of the stage's 50 gears. I climb some stairs to the right, getting 4 more gears, then jump onto the platform behind me for another 4. Jump to the chest I can't open yet and glide to the island behind it for 2 more gears and a blue key. Back to the chest and open it for the first energy cell. Jump down into the little boats below for another gear, then the boats on the other side for another. Back to the start, I go left around the ruins for a ring, another 7 gears, and the second energy cell. Climb the wall behind it and turn around to follow the platforms I skipped on the way back to the starting area. 9 gears and a second ring. Then the platforms above the little boat saw the third ring. Back to the point around the side I turned around at, I get climbing up the ruins. 4 gears, a lift, 4 more gears and the 4th ring, 3 more lifts and I reach the top. The final ring, spawning the cell where I started, the remaining 11 gears spawning another near the start. A button that raises more ruins back at the start, and the third energy cell up here. Drop down to get the ring cell, the gear cell, hit the target on the back on the ruins. Now I have to find 2 more. It takes me a couple minutes to work out that they're on either side of the bottom of the machinery. The final cell appears in the nose on the giant skull on the front of the ruins. With this level finished, we get another time trial that takes quite a few attempts just working out the correct route. I already have over the 40 energy cells needed to get the ending, but there's still stage 8 left, the biggest, most open level of the 8. For this one, Lansbury has given me an extra booster so that I can run even faster. On the platform in the water in front of me is the first of 55 gears. I jump off into the beach the 4 more gears and the first ring. Left from there are 5 more gears and a red key in a tree. There are some flagpoles nearby and the booster lets me run on water. So I get running between all pairs of flagpoles from here to the lighthouse to spawn an energy cell on top of the submarine. The second ring is also here. I turn around and head to these houses. Between them is a set of conveyors holding 20 gears and 2 more rings. Then another 5 at the end in front of this lift going up a house. The roofs also have conveyors on them. 11 gears in total with the final ring at the end, spawning another energy cell on the submarine. Then another roof next to it has a blue key to collect. I can see the tallest building has a cell on top, so I glide back over and climb up to grab it. The submarine is next. The pink key is on top and I grab the flagpole cell and ring cell while I'm there. The last 6 gears are also here, spawning the cell back at the start, so I glide over and get that. The aircraft nearby has targets that set off its propellers. Setting off all 4 has it rise from the ground so I can reach the cell up here. That just leaves those locked doors in the mountain with a skull face on it. Unlock them all for the final energy cell. Just the one last time trial now. Another that took several attempts from working out the best route, along with the extra speed making it easy to run past items. When I return to the hub world, Tori from Tori is there in front of the portal. I go into the portal and I get to play a remixed version of Stage 2 as Tori, playing just as he does in his own game. I have to grab the 111 stars around the stage, 3 right in front of me, behind the level entrance I can drop down for another 5. I get back up and can use these purple boost rings to cross the bridges faster. 4 more at the other end and drop down the steps for a total of 11 more. Cross the next bridge for another 3 stars. This tree and the next are surrounded by several mushrooms with several stars floating above them. Collecting them all and the 3 by the next tree get me 53 more stars for a total of 78. To the 5th tree for 3 more stars and to the final tree for 9 more. On the floor between the last 2 trees is a series of stairs with 12 more stars and then 3 more in a coffin. The last 6 are on the stairs behind the level entrance. Not as enjoyable as a regular Tori level, but a fun extra nonetheless. Completing the level kicks me back to the title screen, where I can see there are still 2 energy cells to find. I try the plane, but that triggers the ending. Kiwi and Lansbury manage to fly off the island and the credits play. We then get a post-credit scene where Lansbury and the captain are reunited. Captain says he hasn't seen him in 30 years, but Lansbury says that it's only been 10. He asks how Lansbury didn't die, to which he says he got help from Kiwi. Everyone goes in for fruit salad tea so they can tell Captain about the adventure. When I return to the title, this time I choose the DLC that was added about a year after the game's release, Super Kiwi 64 Doomsday. We open on the Dimension of the Dead, where all souls go after they die. The Guardian watches over the dimension to ensure none can escape, but there's one who will change this. We see the final level of Macbat 64, the room where the Melon King would keep an eye on Macbat. Some kind of loading is complete and we see the silhouette of the Melon King come into view, with glowing red eyes. Meanwhile, Macbat is visiting Kiwi's house with a pizza, but a portal opens up behind him. I gain control and approach Macbat only for him to be pulled in when I get close. Well, at least he made sure the pizza got to me safe. After leaving Macbat to suffer while I check out the area to make sure I don't miss anything, I go in the portal after him. The Melon King is in the distance, saying he wasn't expecting to get both of the ones who defeated him at once. He was only aiming for Macbat. He has plans for revenge on Macbat, so he needs Kiwi out of the way for now, and I'm dumped into a void with a choice of 2 stages. Each one has 10 crystals I need to find. I go in the left one first. This stage also has 50 gears to find. There are also Macbat cutouts I can destroy. 7 gears going straight ahead and up the ramp. I climb a billboard and glide to the next floor for 3 more gears and the first crystal. Across the gap is a mushroom to bounce me higher. Another Macbat cutout, 3 gears, and jump into 3 more gears before bouncing to the next billboard to climb that shows me the second crystal I collect. On the other side of the board is the next floor. 4 more gears and the third crystal. Then we get the moving platforms, ride these up to a floor with my first ring, and ride another set up to another Macbat cutout and 4 more gears. Climb another billboard for the 4th crystal, then glide from the other side to a second board. This one lets me reach the next floor. But first I missed something on the previous floor, the 5th crystal and 3 more gears. Then to the next floor for the second ring and another 6 gears. A lot of rising platforms to the next floor. 6 more gears, the 6th crystal and the 3rd ring. Bounce to the next floor for 5 more gears, up the ramp for the 4th ring, bounce the mushrooms for 3 more gears. Climb another board to the floor with the last 3 gears to spawn another crystal back at the bottom. I fly across to the next platform for my 7th crystal, then ride the platforms to the 8th crystal and discover that destroying the Macbat cutouts gets you nothing. I'm missing a ring somewhere, so I slowly glide down in the hopes I see it in my descent. I reach the bottom and grab the gear crystal. It was down here, hidden by one of the lights. Thankfully the crystal appears next to the exit, completing this level. After I leave, I get a cutscene. The Guardian gets menaced by 2D faces. Apparently these guys have tried taking over a few times now, but this time they have the backing of the Melon King, who lasers the Guardian through the chest from behind. He's upgraded his life goal from ruling countries to destroying realities. The Guardian remembers him being defeated by Macbat last game, but this Melon King isn't the original. He's a robot clone with laser guns and magic powers. He's helping the dead escape so that he can unleash them on Kiwi Land and plunge it into chaos as revenge for his defeats. The Guardian just assumes Macbat will defeat him again. Turns out when Macbat fell into the portal, he wasn't caught immediately. The Melon King is having the dead go looking for him. Back into the void, I enter the stage on the right, Synfetti Western. 76 gears here, with 4 of them right in front of me. It's a big stage, so I also get the booster back. There are these purple cubes in the air that I can bounce off to keep flying across the level with. Once I can turn right, there are a pair of wagons with 6 gears total and the first ring. Continuing that way, turning right again first chance I get and following it all the way to the end has me find the first crystal in another wagon. I bounce from a mushroom to a nearby cliff with a spinning blue rock. I destroy it to reveal there are more of them to break. Back to where the first pair of wagons were, I can see a second crystal on top of this huge bird statue, so I climb up to get it. The mountain top behind it has 3 more gears to collect. Drop down to the farm below to find another 14 gears between the field and up the haystacks. Nearby is a second ring in some kind of cage that doesn't prevent me from grabbing it. I cross the train tracks behind it to find another rock to break embedded in this crashed spaceship, plus another 4 gears and the third crystal. I finally land on the train, being driven by a brain with eyes. I hit the brain once, and then leave it to check out the graveyard in the far back of the level. One headstone has a picture of a crystal I can break to reveal the 4th crystal right behind it. Back across the tracks, at the end where the train comes out of the tunnel, to find a few houses. 3 gears on top of one, the third ring on top of another, and I somehow missed the giant obvious rock. Another house further on has 3 more gears and I climb the cliff opposite it. 3 more gears on the mushroom that bounces me to the top, the 4 more gears and the 4th ring. I drop back down to the farm to discover I missed another 4 gears on top of that house. I next bounce over to the mountain behind the previous house I climbed. I break the 3rd rock up here, and while bouncing the mushrooms going up the statue onto this big neon platform, I get 17 more gears plus another 4 climbing this billboard. Getting on top and following it to the end has me find the 5th crystal. I glide down across from the farm to find the final ring above the mushroom, spawning the crystal in front of the farm and 4 more gears. To the left from here is the 4th rock to break. I grab the ring crystal and find the last 3 gears on a mushroom next to the farm. I get the crystal which spawns right next to me. While looking around, I actually get my first death in this game, as embedding Kiwi into the train tunnel kills him. I finally notice that rock I walked right past earlier, break it and grab the crystal. After a few minutes of aimless wandering, I get back on the train and hit the brain until it explodes to spawn and collect the 9th crystal. And then I end up at a loss as to where the last one could be. There are robot cowboy farmers in the fields, and so killing them all makes the last crystal appear, completing this level. Back in the void, the final level in the middle is now open, Space Baroque. The Guardian kneels wounded at the level start. He tells Kiwi that the Melon King is on top of the clock tower freeing the dead. No collecting here, just pure platforming. First up the stairs and across the bridge, dodging several swinging guillotines. Then some platforms, and the next one has me dodging them swinging in front of me. Up the stairs is a fork. The path in front of me is fenced off, so I go left. I avoid the tentacles and cross to another fork. Straight ahead is impossible right now, so I go right. I avoid more tentacles and find another brain connected to them. Destroying it removes the fence around the other path from the first fork, so I go there, crossing the bridges and platforms to find 5 Macbat cutouts. Breaking them all frees Macbat. Make contact with him for him to get on Kiwi's back and grant Kiwi his infinite jumps. Now I can return to the second fork and take the straight on path with no flaw. This path takes me to a big chained up rock. Destroying it grants me access to the clock tower. So I head up the stairs and go through the portal for the final battle. The Melon King has a barrier that disappears when he charges a laser, giving me the time to get a couple hits in. On the 3rd cycle of mashing attack on his face, I break open his disguise to reveal his true appearance. He also makes a load of guillotines appear in the arena. It doesn't help him as I wait in the middle and beat away the last of his health during the next charge. He charges one last giant laser and destroys the dimension barrier, saying reality will soon collapse. But then he gets Mecha Freezed, showing the cutting in half from his point of view even, by the Guardian. The Melon King explodes, reality is safe, and the Guardian gives his thanks to Kiwi and Macbat. He's about to send them home, but he has a better idea. He'll take them on a trip across several dimensions as a nice reward. Is that where Kiwi's cameo in Valky 64 fits into the canon? That is the end of this DLC. I prefer the main game, but I still enjoyed it. The first climbing level was the only one in the game I didn't much care for. Climbing the thin billboards could get a bit irritating. But everything else was good. But I still have those last 2 energy cells to find in the main game. I missed this one pipe that opens when you get the other 48. It takes me to these ruins with the 49th cell at the top of the stairs, and here is a password system. There have been codes written all over the walls in this game, they are cheats for use here. A lot of them are model swaps, like this first one that turns Kiwi to Lansbury. or a giant kiwi, or one of the enemies, a cheat that grants low gravity. How about playing as one of the switchers from stage 5? But then one cheat opens up a pipe next to me. It takes me to the original level of the first Kiwi 64. Everything's here exactly as it was, it just looks a bit smaller. I can still destroy the huts, and this time the tree can't talk to tell me not to. Also, there's this green guy I think I might have seen hidden in Tori somewhere. The objective is to climb the mountain again, where the original Kiwi model is staring at the 50th and final energy cell. You can get a look at the slight changes Kiwi has had over the last decade. Other cheats include turning into an energy cell and a first person mode. That would be the end of the game. But if you bought the game's soundtrack, you got a small bonus game, Lansbury's Sneak Out. This game is so small and simple that it didn't feel fair to rank it as its own thing. So since it can only be gotten by buying the Super Kiwi 64 soundtrack, I'm going to count it as part of Super Kiwi 64. This will be short because there isn't much to say about it. Lansbury checks out a pipe and falls in. I have a series of tunnels to get through without being seen by the enemies, which would result in starting the level again. First level is the simplest, second introduces crates to hide behind, third has me sneaking around more than one at once, fourth one requires me to tail them and quickly run by as they're turning around. At the end I find the exit, Lansbury escapes into the desert, spots Kiwi falling onto the island, and the game is only less than 10 minutes long. As I said, it was a little thank you for buying a soundtrack, so I didn't want to judge it as a full game. And that's Super Kiwi 64 and my 9th completed series, and the first one to consist of more than 2 games. This is my favourite of the series and my favourite Cyaktro game so far. It has what I praised MacBat64 for, giving the bite-sized pieces of nostalgia while still being enjoyable, and also including the fast gameplay and time trials I got really into that Tori 3D had. Also the best soundtrack of the series so far, it was so good. Ranking this thing is so easy, it's gonna go a couple spots above Tori 3D, ending up in 88th, above Fear Effect but below Zelda 2. In the end, I think this series has improved with every game. For a series developed by one person, it's come quite away from the first game's single level. Of all the series I've finished so far, this is the first one that isn't definitively ended yet. The others all ended or stopped getting games years ago. But Cyaktro is still making games, this one just happens to be the most recent in the series at the time of this video. So this is one that could keep being uncompleted and recompleted if the channel goes on long enough. And I hope so. I've been liking this series and I want to see where it ends up going next.